Hi, this is Adam Eliel Berkowitz from Breaking Israel News. I'm here with Rico Cortes, and I'm really excited. This is really, we're living in miraculous times. So Rico, tell me a little bit about yourself and tell me about what you did.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Rico Cortes. I live in Orlando, Florida, and we are promoting an app on the Beit HaMikdash, and also
For people,
we have a
I'm sorry,
software. It's
for people who don't know, Beit HaMikdash is the temple. And in this case,
the temple, yes,
if I'm not
and
mistaken, you did the app on the second temple.
yes, sir. Actually, I didn't do the. I've only helping my teacher Joseph Good. He did all the research of 40 years. Um, in some of the bit, and then also have the people who helped me put it together. Now, the people who did the software, they are responsible for some of the work with James Cameron on Lord of the Rings and also Hobbit and Marvel. And these people, they just love the temple. So we came alongside them, and Joseph began to share their research with them. So we came up with our own app so that we can the whole intent is for this particular app using all the rabbinical sources. We're using the Mishnah Torah now, the Talmud. We're using the Tanakh. We're using all the known sources in the Jewish world and also all the archaeology. And that's the difference. We're trying to show you connecting all the archaeology done in the last 40, 50 years and connecting it with the information found in the Mishnah Torah and the Mishnah and all these important resources that many people know, one side, the archaeology, and the other one in the Jewish world, but we're trying to put them together.
Okay, I want to interject a little personal story. You asked.
I appreciate you giving us the opportunity.
You asked me if I knew Joseph Good. I guess about a year and a half ago, Cry for Zion had a conference. It was specifically about the Temple Mount, and it was focused on Christians. And the particular subject was a rumor that the first and second temple actually stood further down the hill in the city of David, very near, but not on the Temple Mount. And I mean, it's an absurd theory with zero basis that contradicts everything archaeologically, and there are a lot of, unfortunately, anti-Semitic reasons why that theory would be pushed forward. But they had this conference, and someone said, "You got to meet this guy." And usually, when people say that to me, I think to myself, "I don't got to meet anyone." But they introduced me to Joseph. I'm telling you, I spoke to him. It might have been half hour, might have been 2 hours. I can't tell. I learned in yeshiva for 10 years. I'm fairly well versed in Jewish literature, and he gave me a schooling. That man, and he's not Jewish, but he knows the Jewish sources better than most rabbis. I
would agree with that.
And he knows it as a Christian. He's not making nicey to the Jews. He's not hiding an agenda. My understanding is that he's a devout Christian, and his devotion has led him to needing to learn these sources.
Actually, you'll be surprised to know he lives more like an Orthodox. He is kashrut. He follows the feast. He keeps Shabbat, and we basically live without the agenda trying to convert anybody. We just want to live the life according to the Torah prescribes, and we want to understand that we want to help with the resources that we're trying to learn with respect to the origin where everything comes from. We love the Jewish people, the land of Israel, the covenant. I'm here with my tour. I love Israel. I come every year, and I'm very grateful to have Joe as my teacher because he's taught me to really appreciate the amount of information that the Jewish world has to offer. And what we've done, he's taught me also to to understand the methodology of how to apply it. So when it came to the
Mm.
temple, there are many things that the Western world sees, but they don't quite understand. So they have a prejudgment, they have a bias. And we are removing ourselves from that. We only care about the research, and we want the evidence to establish the truth. That's really all we care about, you know.
Okay, and as an overview, you took his research, which is astounding on any level, the result of decades of seriously devoted learning, and you made an app, a virtual reality app, as if I understand correctly, that will take a person into the temple in a way that just isn't possible in any other manner. Would that be correct?
Actually, yes, sir. Actually, what we did, just to make sure that, you know, I want to give credit to my teacher because he's an honorable man and I respect his research. I had the privilege to learn from him for the last 8-9 years. And
Really? Wow.
I kept saying, man, people need to hear, you know, and I studied with him together. I told him, I need you to go with me to Jerusalem 2 straight years. And we spent 12 days in the land just learning. He put me through the whole archaeology, the sources, services, Tamid, Midot, Yomah, and all the sources, looking into it. And he did all this research. And I said, we need to get this out somehow. So when I met the people from the makers of the app, I told Joe, we need to get this thing done. So in reality, my role in all this as a student is as a facilitator. He's the one who's done the research, who has spent all the time. I'm just the beneficiary, and I'm blessed to have this to help him so his work can be known, because his passion is for the Jewish world to behold the beauty of the the Beit HaMikdash. And as well as I want the whole world to appreciate the house of God, you know, and to revere, and, you know, like Vaikra, you know, Leviticus says, honor my Sabbath and revere my sanctuary. The world needs to know the beauty of the house. And I'm praying that this resource will be a great tool for a yeshiva student to read Midot. And then when you get to Midot and you're there, and it's like, whoa, it's cool. So I'm excited about it. Thank you for the opportunity, man. This is great.
It's amazing. The Temple Institute, until they came along, there was no way to visualize all these amazing things we learned about. And the Temple Institute started getting artists to present the actual temple. And I remember they have a prayer book for Yom Kippur, and they show all the sacrifices and all the glory of the temple in Yom Kippur. And I remember praying with that. It just took me to a totally different level. And it's like, if you can actually see the center of your devotion, the thing that you're dedicated to, it just takes your devotion to a different level. I don't care if you're a Jew or a Christian, but to actually see the glory of the temple, it's really, I noticed that even you got the floor right. There's a tile floor.
You noticed.
I got
Baruch
that.
Hashem. Hey, would you like to see a preview of it?
Sure. Can you do that on your screen? Because I'm not so tech.
If you let me share, let me see if I can share it, okay?
Okay. Now just to fill in the people. Oh, there you go. Oh gosh, wow. What is that? Oh, you're good at this.
Well, not really, but I do my best. Let's see. It'll come up in a minute.
So the story of the floor is, I think it was in the late 70s, a rabbi, one of the chief rabbis said, let's build a synagogue in Solomon's temples, which are underground. And
right.
And it would have solved all the problems for the Jews and the Arabs. Jews and Arabs wouldn't have even had to see each other, and there would have been a synagogue up there, and totally secure everything. And the area was actually an underground. It was under the actual stones that you walk on. It was the area where they raised up the floor of the Temple Mount, and the Muslims said, no, we can't do that. The Arabs, the Palestinians said, we can't allow that. So they went in and without any permits, in flagrant violation of all agreements, international agreements, agreements with Jordan. They went in literally with bulldozers and heavy equipment and started digging out this area that had been part of the Second Temple, and it was an empty underground vaulted area. And they just took away truckloads and truckloads of dirt. And like it's destruction of Second Temple artifacts. So they built the Marwani Mosque, which can seat over 10,000 people. We could have had a synagogue that could seat 10,000 people.
Amazing. I've been there, by the way.
Yeah,
I went down there.
I've never. They don't let us down there.
Well, you want to see it? You want to see it?
Okay, let me finish the story. So they built this Marwani Mosque, and they dumped truckloads and truckloads of dirt that they carted away from the Temple Mount. And there's an amazing archaeologist, a guy tougher than nails, one of these old dudes who you just don't want to mess with him, Dr. Gabriel Barkai, and he started the sifting project. And I think it was last year or the year before, they just go through this dirt that got carted away and dumped outside of Jerusalem, and they sift through it and they find artifacts from the temples.
Yes.
And one of the things he found was they reconstructed the tile floor from the temple, which the Palestinians had and the Waqf had dumped. And I was so pleased to see in your app that you took Dr. Gabriel Barkai's temple floor, and that's the floor you show. That's what we're talking about.
I don't know if you can see my. Can you see my share screen?
Yeah, I can. Big island.
Okay, so do you see the floor there?
No, what I'm seeing is an island.
Oh, okay. Hold on a minute.
That's your desktop?
Yeah. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can get this in here. That's the island. Let me go back, see if I can
That's not the Temple Mount, lest anyone think. You know?
Yeah, that's right. Can you see this one now?
I actually cannot. There's still the island.
See, I'm learning how to do this thing. So give me 1 second. Let me escape out.
So tell me, who are the people who actually made the app?
Man, these guys, they're from Utah.
Are they a company?
Yeah, they're a company. And their name, I'm going to get you the information right here. I'm very grateful for them. They're amazing. It's called Immersive History. Okay, you can go to the website, immersivehistory.io. And these guys, they just love the temple. They love the temple. They want to be able to share it. And they want to be able to really, really, really give you the best information available. And now they asked us to be their consultants to help them understand this stuff.
Who's us? Your company?
I'm really excited. They're from Utah.
Your company or you and Joseph? Joseph.
No. This is something that we're helping them. We hire them to do the app. But in our relationship, we develop a good friendship. So what's happened now is like they're asking us to help them in all the projects. One of the projects that I want to do with my app, and I'm trying still how to figure it out. So give me 1 second because I'm going to look for it here.
Sure. I'm amazed. I'm looking at their website, and it says, who it's for: schools, families, and churches. It doesn't say. It's funny. I don't know how I should relate to this, but it does not say synagogues. It does not.
No.
This is
because remember, they are just the people who do the work for us. We hire them and they do exactly what we want them to do, but they have become so intrigued by everything we have shown them that now they want to learn how to do all the services. Our main goal is to do Passover, Pesach, how it was done in the temple.
Oh my goodness.
Shavuot.
Do you
want to do Yom Teruah?
It's Rosh Hashanah, the new year.
Yeah, Rosh Hashanah. In the temple, we want to do Yom HaKippurim, and we also want to do Sukkot. That's not
Wow.
including the Tamid, the morning sacrifices. You know, so it's going to be really, really cool.
Okay, I have a question. Are
Sure.
would wow, I'm looking at the video, and first of all, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
It's
they have good
aesthetically
quality work.
it's aesthetically pleasing, and I'm not only if you're consulting with Joseph Good, then you're doing oh my goodness, the videos are spectacular.
Now, by
Um,
the way, let me tell you this real quick. Let me tell you this. The next thing we want to do when we get funding is enhance reality. We'll be able to do the temple. We can project it with a phone, and right in front of you, you can see it. It's going to be. I'm telling you, this could change the whole mechanism of learning for any yeshiva student, any school, and any Israeli school, and the learning process will go even higher.
okay, what does it do for Christians?
Well, they're learning. What we want to do is bridge that gap. You know, we want to show them the beauty of the house and say, look, you're missing a big part of the understanding of the first century writings. You know, you notice we don't have any first century writing verses in this model. We want all the Hebrew sources, all the Jewish sources, because they're the ones that I outline for us what it looked like. Not to disregard anything else, but we also want to put a location so that if they want to know certain events that happen, we can point them out. But that's not really our first agenda. We just want everyone to learn. We want everyone to see the house. It should be Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah. Out of Zion shall come forth the Torah, you know?
Okay. Also, I mean,
You look surprised. You look
you're
surprised.
you're blowing me away in so many different ways. I can't begin to tell you. So I mean, also, I mean, if you want to see the building that Jesus walked around in, if you want to see the holidays that he experienced, you know,
Yes.
I mean, the
And how they were done.
and how they were done, what he himself experienced. I mean, for a Jew, I can tell you how a Jew would relate to this, but that's a different article. I mean, and I think for anyone we're talking, I mean, the glory of the temple, it was something that the world never saw. It was a house of prayer for all nations. It will be a house of prayer for all nations. It's something that I think we need when we talk about the third temple. We're talking about a global movement. It was a global thing back then that fixed the world spiritually. And the world is running on gas fumes right now. We're on empty. So bringing back the third temple, we want to know what we're talking about, because this is something. It's a Jewish temple, but it's more like, so it's like saying it's only a temple for the priests. That's not true.
Correct.
The priests are there for the whole world, and the Jews are a nation of priests. We're there for the whole world. We serve. God willing, we'll be able to serve again. So that's yeah, that's where we're coming from.
But the biggest thing is the misconceptions about what the function of the temple was. Listen, every Christian needs to know that the temple is actually the garden, is the garden of God. It is actually the place where everything happened. Every Jewish person needs to know the beauty of the house. Can you imagine you went to yeshiva and you read Midot, Tamid, Yoma, Shekalim, all this great work, Mishneh Torah, the Rambam, oh my, I mean, you have incredible information, details, minutia, but they never really put it in the context of a building. Now, what we've done, we have taken all the measurements on the cubits, and we're basically putting all the buildings according to how the temple was, how Ezekiel describes it, all the evidence from Khan Rashik. For anyone who's watching for the first time, we are taking all the research by all the archaeologists since the 1800s all the way to now, including names like Charles Warren, Khan Rashik, Barclay, Robinson, Wilson, Eilat Mazar, Benjamin Mazar, Dan Bahat, Ehud Netzer, and so on and so on. all Ilat Barkat. I mean, we're taking all of the archaeology and we're saying, hey, we know what the drainage for the temple looked like. Let's put it here. We know what the temple floor looked like. Let's put it there. We know what the entrances look like. Let's put it there. So because we have to recognize that God is doing something, and we want to reconcile archaeology, that if an archaeologist looks at the model, they say, whoa, you put in the door? So it's always going to be updating because we're always researching. If you look at a yeshiva student or a rabbi, they go into the Beit HaMikdash and they're going to see the mikvah in the roof of Beit HaNitzot and in the roof of Beit HaPtinas, where the priest will do the mikvah on the Day of Atonement. So now we have all the elements coming together. It's exciting.
Okay, Rico, I got to tell you something. Like I said, I spent 9.5 years, 10 years, and a good chunk of my spare time when I wasn't full-time in yeshiva learning this stuff, and you're kind of making me feel this big. Okay, you clearly.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
No,
it's
making me want to go out and learn more. You're not Jewish, are you?
No, you I'm actually. Well, I'm a descendant, what you call descendant to the Bnei Anuzim.
Okay.
Have you heard of the Bnei Anuzim?
Okay, for my readers, the Bnei Anuzim, okay, we're in
Did I lose you?
No, we're in okay, wait. Okay. For some reason we're in screen sharing again. The Bnei
that was me. I'm sorry.
Okay. Bnei Anuzim, see, I have a very specific take on it. My specific take is that we're talking about in the end of the 1400s, there was the Spanish Inquisition and the Portuguese Inquisition, the Iberian Peninsula. What surprised me about it when I started writing about it was, at the time of the Inquisition, 20% of the population of Spain and Portugal were Jewish. 20%.
Correct.
They were like the major countries of that time. It's like saying 20% of America and Russia are Jewish. It was a huge percentage of the world population, and the dominant cultures of the time. You know, it was Spain and Portugal and France and England, kind of, but it's literally like saying 20% of Russia and America being Jewish. Which is a huge amount. And the Inquisition basically said either convert or die. And I've heard the most amazing stories of families that kept traditions, and that you don't even. I remember a friend walked up to me. He said that when he was, and he lives in America, but he's descended from Spanish people from South America. And he said that his grandmother took him in the barn and said, and locked the door of the barn and said, remember. And he was 13 years old. She said, remember, we observed the Sabbath on the wrong day. You know, they're just,
oh wow.
Yeah, and you have each family, each person having threads that connect him to his past. So we're talking about what, 500 years that people
pretty much
people keep this in their family, and people keep this because, and it's funny that I, you know, as important as religion is to you, you'd think that, I don't know, I think that, you know, if my kids lost it, well, you know, 2 generations later, my great-great-grandchildren, they wouldn't know that I was Jewish. But here we have a tradition coming down for 500 years, and people just rediscovering and holding on to this tradition. It's awe-inspiring. It's
by the way, it's waking up all over the world. I travel all over the world. I've been to 25 countries, and we have people coming, especially from all Latin America, in which they recognize, whoa, wait a minute, I have this desire to worship the God of Israel and to keep the Sabbath and follow Sabbath and things.
I found that desire is a very strong indicator. These people, they have a desire, they don't know where it comes from, and then they do a genetic test, and bang, there it is. So
I did that one.
So what's your story? How are you connected?
Well, I mean,
how are you, my cousin?
I was born in Puerto Rico, but I was never Catholic myself. Although my family, they were Catholics, but I was never Catholic myself. And, you know, I played professional baseball in the minor leagues for the Yankees and the Mets.
Woo.
I was a baseball scout for the Chicago White Sox for 10 years. And in 1998, I wanted to change my life. So I began to come back to God, and I began to pray to Hashem, you know, to the Lord to reveal himself to me in different ways. And it was actually in a church that I saw the Torah, Chumash, you know, and I saw it, and I'm thinking, this is it. I was praying for truth. And I began to read the Torah, and then I began to understand that the Sabbath is important, and the Moedim, the feast, and eating clean. So I don't eat pork. I don't eat anything unclean, you know, and I haven't done that for 21 years. And I've been following all the principles of the Torah. I've been researching, reading, studying, believing Yeshua is Messiah, but I don't follow replacement theology. I'm all about uniting with the Jewish world and living a lifestyle according to the first century, like they would have in that time frame. I don't do missionary work like everybody does. I believe that you live a lifestyle according to what you believe, and your lifestyle determines your example and your testimony. And you know,
how did you find out? How did you find out your connection? Did you do a genetic test?
We have customs. We have customs in my family.
I love that.
And we have,
what kind of customs?
Man, this was really cool. When I was a kid, I had a great grandfather that I met. He lived until he was over 100 years old. He was from Spain. And I remember from the time I was born until the age of 8, until he died, I remember that every year we have to go to a family gathering. The whole family had to be there for 1 week. 1 week. It always fell between September and October, every year. And I'm thinking, why do we need to do this? No one knew. Only that it was a custom of Papa. It was a custom of Papa that we have to meet for 1 week in the fall after the coffee harvest, which happens to fall in conjunction with Sukkot. Will you give me 1 second? Give me one second,
sure.
Because I got somebody in the door here real quick. Okay, give me 1 second.
This is mind blown, okay? But I hear a lot of these stories, and every single time my mind is blown, because a person is actually an embodiment of God's will. So here we have Rico. You actually embody
thank you.
God's desire to bring this, whatever it is that you are, into the world.
You know, I'm learning, man. My son is here trying to help me. I'm trying to set up the program here into this one. I use the one here, but it's not working very well, and I want to share it.
So
my son is the technical guy.
There you go.
Okay, so let me tell you the story as he does it, okay?
Yeah.
So I got my DNA done 10 years ago, and it came out. I don't know how much you know about the haplogroups.
Not so much, but
you know the groupings.
Okay.
Well, there's a particular grouping. It's called P58 M267, which is J1C3, and J1C3 comes from the line of a Kohanim. So that's what they're suspecting. So when you look into all the evidence of the background, to me, it's not really, I'm not really putting any stock in that. It was more like, I just got it done. I was kind of curious because I come from the background, you know? So I'm thinking, are you kidding me? So it's interesting that I've been always in love with the Beit HaMikdash since I was a kid. I remember, you know how I learned about the tabernacle? My son, when he was 7, 8 years old, he was going to a school and they taught him about the tabernacle, and he will come to me and say, hey, Papi, did you know the tabernacle looked like this? I literally bought a model of the tabernacle and I began to read Exodus and start building it because I wanted to learn. And when I started doing what we call ministry, I got the business card, and my business card had the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, and the censor. And I knew I was going to study about the Beit HaMikdash, the temple. And it's been my passion. It's been my life. I study all the time, and they still don't know anything. So I'm really excited to keep learning.
You're going to make me cry.
And what it's done for me, what it's done for me is giving me a line of focus. It's like, I get it. I understand what I'm supposed to do in life. And it's not something that should put me above anybody else. I'm just a servant of God like anyone else, but it's helping me understand my role in this world, which makes it more clear. You know what I mean?
Do I know? I'm still fumbling around, but the fact that you got the fire and you know what you're doing, that's pretty amazing. So you're descended from, you have the Cohen gene, and here you are,
well,
all wrapped up in
according to what this test says, but who knows? But according to what the text says, that's the inclination. I think the important thing in all this, is that I find it really interesting that I come from a background, and then the Lord gives me the opportunity to be working with the foremost authority of the temple in the Western world, Joseph Good, to help me and teach me. Because if I don't have a good teacher, I'm not going to be able to do what I'm called to do. You know what I mean? So I'm grateful for the teacher that the Father has given.
The priests learned their whole lives just to do service maybe once in the temple. It's not simple. The temple service is so complicated. Everything has to be perfect.
Can I tell you something?
Sure.
I know, right? But you know something, that I remember talking to Joseph Good in Jerusalem 3 years ago, and okay, so in Jerusalem 2 years ago, okay, and he was trying to convey to me about the measurements and about the everything, the cubits and all that stuff, and it dawned on me, it's like this man has dedicated 40 years of his life learning and researching, not getting any credit from anybody, just because he loves it. Then I come along and I'm willing to learn from him, and I'm honored to be his student, because he's also a very humble person. And I asked him, I said, Joe, how does it feel how do you deal knowing that if the Beit HaMikdash were built today, that you will not have access to certain areas, because you cannot go into the Kohanim area or some of the areas that are high level of Kedusha, of holiness. And he looked at me, he gave me a smile, he goes, it's perfectly fine by me, as long as they understand the temple. And that inspired me, man. It's like, wow, you're willing to spend 40 years looking, experiencing, teaching, educating yourself in areas of the temple that you will never even see. And you do it willingly, unselfishly. I want to be like that.
You're absolutely right. The idea of being a servant of God is so important. And I mean, you're saying that there are areas that I won't be able to go into. I can't go where the Kohanim go. And there are areas that the Leviim can go, but they can't go into where the Kohanim go. And the Kohanim, there are areas that they can't go to. I mean, there's one area they can't go to, and that's where the high priest goes. So it's all about every person serving in their area.
Personally, I love the temple. I want to teach on the temple. I want the whole world to see this app, to get it. And, I don't know if I'll be recognized as one of those people, but I don't really care. I just want to teach and do my best now. And God will do the rest after that. I just really want to get people to get a hold of the tools to help. Imagine a yeshiva student learning about the temple, and you can be literally inside of it in the virtual reality, or you can have the app that you can play with. I'm still trying to deal with this. Let me see if I can share the screen so you can see it, okay? Let me open it again one more time.
I want to point out something. You said you emphasized the aspect of the archaeology. I remember once I had an interesting discussion that took me a long time to calm down from, with a guy who was reporting on archaeology for National Geographic. It was actually at that conference where I met Joseph Good. And he was actually very unpleasant, because he asked them, he's like, well, you guys are talking about the Temple Mount, so you want the third temple, so you want to destroy it and start a war with the Muslims. And so okay. Anyway, He made the point. He made the point. First of all, you should know it's a house of prayer for all nations. The problem of what
Right.
the Palestinians are doing up there is that they say us and no one else.
Exactly.
If there is a third temple, well, guess what? If they follow the criteria, then they have to be there along with us. And it doesn't mean, God forbid, converting or anything like that. Or Judaism wins and nothing like that. But this
Yes.
reporter, what he said, which dropped me. This is a guy who reports on archaeology, and history is his job. And he said to me, well, there's never really been any archaeology on the Temple Mount. So how do you know there was a temple?
Well,
And
that is not true.
I mean, to say that I had to pick up my jaw up off the sidewalk, because I was just like,
crazy, right?
This is a man of science. And you know something? Technically, he's kind of correct, because there has not been any archaeology done up there in the last 20, 30 years.
Right.
And
well, they have been a lot of research done before, though.
Right. And what Dr. Gabriel Barkay does is he's picking up the pieces after the Palestinians have pulled it out, after the Waqf has pulled it out with dump trucks. But that's not considered archaeology, because it's not.
Yeah, but check this out. Consider this, though, that you have the works of Charles Warren, Charles Wilson, Conrad Sheik, the Vogue from Palestine Exploration Fund. The best evidence of temple research is right outside Damascus Gate in a hotel ran by nuns. It's in the basement. They have the model of Conrad Sheik. They have two models of Conrad Sheik. One, the way the Temple Mount looked like in the 1867, and the other model is his rendering of what the temple looked like with the archaeology of the Antonia on the Temple Mount. It's right in under our noses.
Conrad Sheik?
Sheik, yes.
S-H-E-I-K.
Very well known.
I have to find. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, S-C-C-H.
Okay, I've never even heard of that. I've got to go see this.
You know Meir HaSharim?
Sure.
He was the architect of it.
So it's crazy. It always blows me away. I mean, I hate to make it political, but people say, oh, the religious people are anti-science. It's actually the early archaeologists, when the British first showed up in Palestine, they showed up with Bible in hand. I even heard there was a couple of battles, a couple of military maneuvers where they used biblical references to guide their military tactics and their strategy.
Yes.
They showed up with Bible in hand, and for them, it was a source book. It was a reference. It was a scientific reference. And for some reason, my dear friend, Dr. Scott Stripling, is battling. People say, oh, no, it's not science. It's become so politicized that they're rejecting actual archaeology and actual science. How can you possibly say there was never a temple, there's no archaeology, or it hasn't been done in the last 40 years, 50 years? And the reason why it hasn't been done is because these people who go up there with tractors won't let it happen, because if we go up, anytime there's any archaeology, they object to it. It's not even, and we do the archaeology anyway, despite, like, the Pilgrims Trail, the sidewalk that people used to walk up to go to the temple. They had to dig it underground just because the Arabs wouldn't let them do it.
But the archaeology has been done. The problem is, for example, Conrad Sheik and Charles Warren, they made discoveries, because in the Mishnah you hear in Midot where it talks about the Horodat Shamayim, Bet Horodat Shamayim, which is the drainage, when it's describing the building. And there's a drainage system 3 cubits wide from the roof of the temple all the way down. Well, guess what? They found the ancient cistern with the conduit that will connect with the drainage system from the temple. We know now what the temple building would have been maybe Joe discovered this. Joe told me, I think we have exactly the proof where the temple building was. We know now where it was based on the cisterns that Charles Warren and Conrad Sheik, they actually measured, and they, from the Solomon's pools from Bethlehem, over 66 million gallons of water can be provided for the Temple Mount. And we know now cisterns 28, according to the Conrad Sheik numbering system, is different than Charles Warren. And we know where Beit Aptinas would have been. We know where the lepers' chambers would have been. We know where the Beit Hanitzot would have been. We know, we actually, in my app, in the app that we have, we show you the mikveh. You know, in the tunnel where the Kohanim, when they were not able to officiate for the service, they have to go in the underground tunnel.
I was in that tunnel. I walked in that tunnel.
We have it in the app. We can walk through that in the app, and you'll find cistern 14, according to Conrad Sheik model, the numbering system, and it's there. And to this day, it's under the ground. You find the water sources, you know where the buildings go.
It's
quite simple.
You're working with Mordechai Persoff of the Mikdash Educational. He told me that with this app, you put on these goggles, you plug it in. He said you can go down into the holes. You can go every square inch that was on the Temple Mount that was not full of dirt and rock, you could go into.
You can do it. Yeah. And by the way, if I can figure out how to share this, I want to show you that you can do the same thing on the app. You can still travel everywhere, although it's not 3D, it's two-dimension, you can still do it. Let me see if I could get this thing going here. By the way, I want to make a disclaimer, you know, when I got my DNA done, I'm not trying to claim anything special. It's just I was curious about my background. So I'm not claiming to be anything special. It's just the results that came out. I'm by no way, shape, or form trying to say that I'm anything special or that I'm anything, you know, so I just want to make that clear.
Okay, if I can throw in an opinion, there's one of the miraculous signs of the end of the exile and the beginning of the redemptive era is an ingathering of the exiles. And if you think that just means everyone who knows they're Jewish and belongs to a synagogue buys a ticket and comes to Israel, that's not miraculous. What we're seeing in our day is really, truly miraculous things. People who didn't know they were Jewish discovering that they're connected. And personal identity is not a simple thing. Personal identity is very complicated. I'm the son of my father and my mother and my brothers and sisters. It's not so simple. Jewish identity is Jewish. Being identified as being Jewish is pretty much black and white, and it's also a personal decision. But personal identity can be very complicated.
Yeah, I know, right?
So, and a lot of times who you thought you were is not really who you are.
I agree.
So what we are looking at is this really amazing floor that Dr. Gabriel Barkai, I have seen photographs of this floor. This is precisely how the floor actually looked. And if I cry at any point, you'll have to excuse me.
What you're looking at, if I may, is that okay?
Sure, please.
Is the court of the women. So what the court of the women would have looked like with all of the lighting, you know, that talks about the big old 4 lighting that we have here. In the app, you can actually climb it. Okay.
And light the lights.
So, you know, right here, you're looking at Shir HaMa'alot. You know, that you have Shir HaMa'alot, the songs of ascent. They used to be sung right here in these steps.
The Levites used to stand on the steps and sing.
Yes.
And so this is the embodiment. This is the actual embodiment of where those psalms were sung.
Exactly. So what we're doing is, and give me 1 second. I'm still my computer is freezing a little bit here. This is the Nicanor gate. What you have here. Okay.
Wow. Which actually is the whole fact that it was in the temple was quite miraculous. Oh, right. And it says where the sources are.
Yes, and I'm going to show you that.
I have a question. All these sources, are they available in English?
I'm going to show you that right now. Yes.
Because that means that people who don't speak Hebrew, they don't have to trust me about what I, as an Orthodox Jew, say about these sources, they can see the translation of the sources.
There it is.
Oh my! Oh my! I want that. I want that. That'll help me with my learning. Wow.
So you have. I'm going to show you something. If you speak Spanish, you can go to here and put Spanish, and they come right away. And now Rabbi Persoff is helping us by translating every single info dot into Hebrew. So really soon we're going to have it in Hebrew. Now I want to show you something. You click the scrolls, you walk up. Let me turn around a little bit so you can see from the Shir HaMa'alot, from the Nicanor gate. Give me 1 second because we still have.
So this is
I'm
what
using my map.
This is what the Levites used to see when they were singing to all of Israel. This is what they looked
right. Now you notice there's scrolls everywhere. Okay, we got scrolls all over the place.
What are those gates that we're looking at?
That is the exit door of the towards the eastern wall right now, leaving the court of the women. So I'm trying to show you what happens is I want to go slow because I want to show you something really cool. Okay, let me leave here. Let me go back to English. This is the interactive map. You see the arrow right there? It shows you where you are at that moment. Okay, so we hit a place right here. I can click, whoops, and it takes me to the trumpeting stone. Okay, then I go to the trumpeting stone, and I want to show you something really cool. You see the inscription right there? Is the Hebrew inscription to the trumpeting stone that you see in the southwest corner.
Which says?
To separate the holy from the profane. I'm going to tell you right now. Hold on.
Is that where they used to call out that the morning had begun?
Yes, you got the Josephus talks about the corner, and it says in Jewish wars, it says at the northeast corner of the court, one above the Sixtos, the third at another corner opposite the lower city, and the last was erected above the top of the Pastoria, was one of the priests stood, of course, and gave a signal beforehand with a trumpet at the beginning of every seventh day, and in the evening twilight, as also as the evening when that day was finished, gave notice to the people when they were to stop work, when they were going to work again. So this is the area that you see the remnant of this in the southwestern corner in archaeology. Now, our new update that we're going to have is going to have the picture, the archaeological picture of this particular thing that you're looking at right now.
Which they found. They have found that stone. So that stone is in a museum.
Absolutely.
Okay, just to backtrack a little bit, for those who don't know, Mishnah is the oral law. So when you learn the Talmud, it has a little Mishnah, and then it has pages and pages of commentary, which is the Talmud. So the Mishnah is indeed part of the oral law, part of the Talmud. And the fact that you've translated this for Christians and for Jews who don't necessarily speak Hebrew, it's a huge tool. You don't have to take my word for it. You could go in and read it for yourself.
That's right. And I'm going to try something real quick.
One more thing. You brought Josephus.
Yes.
Josephus is not part of the oral law, part of the Mishnah Talmud. Josephus was a first century historian. He was actually Jewish, and he was captured by the Romans, and he became a historian. And there are questions about how accurate his writings are, but he is certainly one of the major historical sources, not a religious source, but a historical source for what was happening in that time.
So I want to show you something very beautiful here, which is the view from the southwest corner of the area here.
Wow.
And you're going to see the temple buildings from this area.
This is from the southwest.
From the southwest. And when you look, you see, have you ever noticed the 500 by 500? The wall inside the Temple Mount? The temple buildings were encased with the original 500 by 500 at the time of Solomon. Then later on, Herod added to the west, added to the south and the north. So in the first century, in the temple period, you would have the 500 by 500, which the archaeologists like Lean Rittmeyer and Benjamin Mazar, they found a lot of evidence of the measurements and where things were. It's an incredible thing. Now, let me try something.
Also,
again,
for those who don't know, the temple building itself was shaped like a T.
Yes.
So that's what we're looking at right there is the T-shaped building.
It was like almost like 21 stories high, 100 cubits.
Right.
By 100 cubits long.
Also, for people who come to Israel, I highly recommend going up to the Temple Mount. The first time I went was, I think, 2 years ago. And the thing that struck me about it is it's huge. It's huge big. Up there. You look at the Western Wall. We're talking about, I don't know, less than a quarter of the actual retaining wall. I mean, we're not even talking about the temple.
Right.
And the temple, to see it and to put it into perspective, it's huge, 21 stories tall. My goodness. And so when we say a house of prayer for all nations, it's big enough for that.
Josephus speaks about the evidence of one year when they had, they counted the lambs of how many people come to Jerusalem. They counted like 460,000 lambs.
And the lambs, each lamb is not one person. Each lamb is a group. A group of people who get 10 or 20 who come in, they get together to buy the lamb. So
right. Can you imagine? That's almost 2 million people that one year. That's a lot of people.
It's God bless us. We're seeing miracles in our days.
Hey, I want to show you if I could do this really quickly with my phone. I went from my iMac from my computer, right? I'm going to stop sharing real quickly, and then I'm going to see if I could share my phone with the computer via Air server, and then you will be able to see the app from my phone, okay?
Okay.
Can you see anything now?
No.
Okay. So
I can see you.
Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, okay? Whoops. I'm going to share again. Let's see if I can share it. Yeah, I can. So let me open the app. And then I'm going to share my screen. And let me know if you see it.
There we go. There we go.
Now this is how it will look on my phone. I was doing on my app now, but I want to show you what it looked like on my phone, okay? One of the things that we did, we want to honor Joseph. And sadly, his daughter passed away in January. So we want to just give honor, and we put in memory of Yael Good here in the entrance. We're going to go right into the app, and there you are.
Wow. This is on a cell phone?
This is a big one.
This is on a cell phone?
Yes. I'm projecting it to the computer. Okay, now I'm going to make this bigger, okay? So you can see full screen. Can you see it?
I see.
Are you with me?
I'm with you, yeah. Wow.
So watch this. Now, I'm going to take you to a particular place to show you the archaeology, like I was telling you, the trumpeting stone, right?
Yeah.
As I'm walking through it, I have a scroll on the left. Let it load up a little bit because it's based on the internet or how good your signal is. And eventually, the app is going to show you the picture of the location. There it is. You see that?
Oh,
so now we're putting the archaeology with the information also.
That's the actual stone.
Then we are able to read in Spanish and in English. We're able to go in and do different things. I'm going to take you to the Royal Stoa.
So I have to go out and find that reporter.
I'm going to be able to jump down. Let me jump down real quick. I'm not supposed to do this, but I'm going to do this so we can get here.
Careful.
I'm going to jump down to the Royal Stoa.
I have to find that reporter from National Geographic and tell me what's wrong.
We put the floor This is what Herod built, and this is Robinson's Arch. I'm going to go now down Robinson's Arch real quick here. Now, the way it looks today, underneath Robinson's Arch is going to come up as a picture coming up right now. Okay? This is from my phone. I'm using my phone. You can project it into a computer, a projector. Now, you notice that this is the first century street, and that's the western wall underneath Robinson's Arch. So you know what it looks like today compared to what it looked like in the temple period. Okay, then we also go over here, we go down, we're looking towards Wilson's Arch. Now you see where the far arch against the wall is? That's where the western wall is today. Okay, the arch against the wall. Now I go right here, there's the picture coming. Robinson's Arch and shops. And the picture will come up in a minute and you see what it looks like today. You know, this is very important because many people, as you read the Mishnah and you read about the entrances of the temple, but yet you never connect it with what it looks like today. I took that picture. So we're taking pictures and we put it in the app so that people can connect today, the 21st century, with what we're looking at.
And you can just about see the beginning of the arch. And the arch, that's
really interesting. Let's go down to the marketplace area. Okay, I got another one in here. I want to see what it says. It tells you the summary of Robinson's Arch, give you history. Then I'm walking, I'm manipulating my phone. You see, I got it right here. Whoops, it's right. You can't really see it because of the projection. But you can use your phone and you can use your finger to move everything. You see, so you can project it to your iPad. You can project it to a smart TV and all that stuff. Let's go down Robinson's Arch, and it was huge.
So you can have a family night. You can have a family night and watch TV as a family. And seriously,
can you hear me?
Yeah. I would love to do this as a family. Project it on the TV.
Yeah, exactly. So now look, you see that big
and
old
building? Also, just as an aside, for teachers, that's amazing.
Oh, absolutely. It will get the attention of every demographic. You see what the Robinson's Arch. This is if I was coming from the Davidson Center, coming up to Robinson's Arch. So we know what it looked like. Now you see these buildings right here. I want to show you something.
By the way, those stairs right there, that's where I asked my wife to marry me. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. I wanted to be able to make sure that we could find it 2,000 years from now. So.
That's so good. We quoting it also the archaeological finds like Ila Mazar. Validated information.
She's amazing. She's an archaeologist. She doesn't happen to be religiously observant per se, but she's one of these archaeologists who uses the Bible today as a reference source. And she's very aggravating to left-wing archaeologists because she gets results. So,
she's a very sweet lady, very humble. I really enjoyed talking to her. Met her. She's very sweet.
Brilliant.
Yeah, very nice, very kind. Okay, check this out. So we're here in this big old building, and it talks about the immersion bath. Now, these are there, archaeologically found. The archaeologists find it. Now, if you go in, you see how nice it looks? Now, in the virtual reality...
It's separated into two because there was the people who were impure would walk down the right side. They would go in, they would and come out the left side.
Exactly. Now watch, you see the steps? This is really cool. This is something that we just changed in the app. I want you to notice the way they are. There's one long step, one short one, and then one long one short one. And then when you hit the scroll, we're going to get closer. When you hit the scroll right in here, as I get closer, then a picture will come up that I took of the way it looks today.
That's where I asked my wife to marry me.
That's what you asked me.
Exactly on those steps. Exactly on those steps. Now I have a question for you. Here comes the test. Why are they uneven?
So that it would break stride, so they wouldn't run up, and it would break stride as far as and that's all the way you can find it in the pool of Shiloah down in the bottom of the city of David. So you got to remember, this is all about order. The house of God is about kedusha, holiness, and also order. So everything was designed for a purpose. And you see this,
and this
one right here is a marketplace. Another picture will come up.
Those gates.
In a minute.
Which gates are they?
I'm going to show you in a minute. because I'm going to show you something about the gates. Give me one second. There it is. You see what it looked like?
Yep.
These are the southern steps. This is the southern steps. Those gates, Joseph Gerd came with his tour in December, and the gates didn't look like that.
Nope.
We did an update because a picture from Haifa University.
I'm sorry.
Oh, there it is.
Okay,
there it is. Okay. So what you see here is the archaeology. Now the archaeology, this is based on excavation.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up.
Then what we're doing, yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry, you're saying the archaeology what?
Yeah, the doors, the way they're designed, we put the doors the way the archaeology understood the doors look like. So now we go through here. This is one of the double gates. Look how beautiful it is inside.
Which gates are those?
These are the southern steps, the double door in the south side of the temple. One of the main entrances to the temple, okay? And this is what they think the roof of that looked like.
Wow.
We have all of the evidence. We're putting it in there. Isn't that incredible?
And can you walk through those gates today?
No, they're closed to the public.
No, not only that,
because that's the area now inside the Temple Mount. Yes.
That's they.
Now I want to show you a tree.
They sealed it up.
Yes, that's a mosque today.
Yeah, that's the Marwani Shul.
Now you want to go to Solomon's stables?
Wait, was that the Gate of Mercy, the Golden Gate?
No.
Okay.
That's we're in the south right now.
Okay,
we're going east.
I'm getting my directions confused.
No, that's okay. By the way, this is normal.
Apparently, I need to brush up. I need the app, and I need to learn a little more.
But by the way, it's not just you. What happens is like we've never really seen it.
Right.
So now everyone is trying to get acquainted with it. We're going down the steps, and I'm going to take you all the way through, okay?
Mm.
I'm going to take you all the way through that tunnel. Let me turn around so you can see. That's the entrance of the temple. This is to go back to the marketplace right here. It's going to turn around in a minute. And then I'm going to go through, and I'm back outside. It's just lagging a little bit because of the internet. I'm back outside. So here we have the triple door. Remember the triple door that you see on the south side? Okay. So now we are in the south. We are heading north in the temple. We walk in. Now to the right, you're going to see something really cool. This is the way Solomon's Stables looks like today. Give me a second.
I'm going to cry.
By the way, we were there 2 years ago.
They let you in?
We got favor from God, man. We were able to go down and see it. Now, what's really cool about this, you see the arches right there?
Yeah.
Those arches we saw. And we also saw the Herodian Herodian finish. The way that stones were done, pristine. I mean, it's if it was, and I asked the Muslim tour guide who took us there, and I asked him, "Hey, for what?"
I'm sorry, you're breaking up. You asked him what?
Because he was telling me about every. He was asking about. He was telling. Yeah.
I'm sorry. You're
like because they're pristine.
I'm sorry. You broke up at like the punchline. The thing that I'm. You said that you asked the Muslim tour guide. You asked him about the arches, and are you there? I think there's a problem with the connection. Rico. Oh no. Okay, now we're recording. It's amazing because it can be used as a teaching aid. It can be used as a family get together, especially before the feasts. I think any any if you're getting ready for the feasts, for Sukkot or for Passover, to actually see the places in front of your eyes, just takes your service to God to a totally different level, and your devotion. It's really it's a huge tool.
You know what I did with the VR? I put on the VR. My son and my wife, when they started reading Midot, verse by verse, and it was incredible because I read the tractate Midot so many times, but when I put the virtual reality and we're reading it, and I'm there, and I'm going, whoa, okay, now I get it. So your level of understanding really increases. And the one thing that I'm really really happy about is the fact that I think we can attract the young kids to learn about the temple by facilitating this tool for them, because
Absolutely.
we want this generation,
Absolutely.
the generation, to be the one to get excited about, you know, the temple, and to get excited about the future, because they may be the generation that may see the temple, you know.
Amen.
So we need to educate them. I
Amen.
pray that Joe and I may have a grain of sand in all of this, and I pray that this is a blessing for not only the world but also for the Jewish people to behold the beauty of the temple. And all I want, all I care about, is for the name of God to be great again. That's all I care about.
Well, the way it's going to work is you're going to come to the temple with your sacrifice. You're going to hand it over to me. I don't want you giving it to anyone else. You're going to hand it over to me. I will accept it in humility and love, and carry it to the Kohen with humility and love, and he'll bring your sacrifice to God. That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping.
May it be done. And I want to thank you for the opportunity. I pray that, you know, that these things take off and people take an opportunity. You can go to the App Store on the Android, iPad, and your iPhone. Go to the App Store or AirPlay, what do they call it? Android Play, whatever it is. I don't have an Android. And you can look for Second Temple, the name, Second, not the number, Second Temple. And then you can go in there and get it. And be heads up, because we have a brand new updating the app that we have now.
It's available now?
Oh, the app is available right now.
Oh my gosh.
Right, yeah, you can go to the, let me show you how to find it. If you have an iPhone or you have an Android.
You know what? Send me the link.
Okay.
I'm looking at the, can you get it on immersivehistory.io or no?
Actually, no, get it through the iPhone, through the App Store or the Android. And by the way, it's going to be also available if you have a Mac computer. It's also going to be available on your Mac. Okay. That's still going to take about a week. But for the phone, you can get it right now. For your iPad, right now.
Wow. And virtual reality, to actually put it on your face as a goggle and it's walking you through. That's a very inexpensive thing, is it not?
No, not inexpensive at all. It's actually very expensive. And right now, the only people in the world who have the VR is Joseph Good, myself, and Rabbi Person.
Okay.
Because he is our representative. He's representing us in Israel, showing the app and the virtual reality to as many people as he can do it. It looks like this. I don't know if you can see it.
Can't see it.
Okay.
Yeah,
right here.
Okay. You can send me the link, and I'll put the link up on send me all the information, and you can send it by email, and I'll
that sounds wonderful.
What exactly is your, I didn't understand, what exactly is your position with the company, other than
which company? Immersive?
Yeah.
No, my position with them is I hire them to do the app, and in turn they have asked us to help them with future projects.
So
we are independent from each other. We just work together for this purpose.
So what's your company? You have a company? You have an organization?
The organization that I have is called Wisdom in Torah. And we are we believe in Yeshua, but we teach the Hebraic understanding of the whole Bible. And I'm trying to educate people as to the importance of the temple. I focus a lot on temple courses, and I travel all over the world doing temple courses, teaching them about the sources and everything that I encompasses that in this proper context from a Hebraic understanding.
You know, I once had someone tell me, an older Israeli, he said, you know, in a way, we're very upset that in 1967, after the war, Moshe Dayan gave control of the Temple Mount to the Waqf and to the Muslims. But if the Jews had gone up in 1967, they'd probably have put up a nice synagogue, and that's about it.
Probably.
But now that the way things have unfolded, the Jews really need Christians to take their part in the temple, to take their role. And because of that, we have no choice now. It has to be a house of prayer for all nations, exactly as the prophet said. And it's not going to be just a Jewish prayer site. And I think you're playing a very big role in that.
Well, I'm grateful to have my teacher Joe to really help me, teach me to the next level. You know, I mean, by the way, he also has a website that is a really, really good website, and he has a lot of courses on the temple too. You know, so visit his website. You know, Jerusalem Temple, and I also have one, wisdomandtorah.com. And our desire is to just teach. You know, just teach. And by the way, he has a book that you can find on Amazon. It's called Measure the Pattern, and has been a resource it's a resource now in the PLF, Palestine Exploration Fund, which is a very old organization.
I'm sorry, what was the name of the book? Measure the what?
Measure the Pattern. Measure the Pattern.
Because I want to get it.
I
want to get it. Joseph is brilliant.
Yeah, a really good book, and I highly recommend you guys considering that, because also he has the JerusalemTempleStudy.com, where he has in-depth courses on the temple, as well as I have my website wisdomandtorah.com that I also have courses in the temple. Listen, let me tell you this. Last year I did a temple course in Orlando, Indiana. I did one in New Zealand, in Australia, and Chile, and I taught a little bit about the temple in Bogota. I'm going this year to Paraguay for temple. I mean, it's exciting. It's happening everywhere, and I'm doing one this year in Puerto Rico also. And we do a national course in Orlando every year, and we get 100 people. We only want 100 people, leaders and teachers. We do 4 days. 5 teachings a day. Each teaching is an hour and a half. We have workbooks. We have everything. And also what we're trying, and we have it in Spanish too. I already have 2 done in Spanish and 4 in English. And I'm really excited. So if you want us to do a temple course in your country,
this is going to be the stage. This is going to be what brings the final redemption. I don't know if you want to use Jewish terms to say what the final redemption is, if you want to use Christian terms. I think we're all headed in the same direction. I just want to see it, and we'll figure things out when it happens. I could be saying something wrong, and people may take offense, and I deeply apologize, but I just want to get there. And I think this is what's going to bring it. It's not going to be a bunch of Jews in a closed room doing our Jewish thing, and it's not going to be, and I don't think it's going to be Christians in a closed room doing their Christian thing. I think there has to be a coming together, and this is what I see. You as a non-Jew, Joseph as a non-Jew, you deeply devoted,
yes,
to taking the step forward towards the temple by taking a look back at the temple, a real serious look back. The temple was not an allegory. It was not, a theoretical thing. The temple was actual stones that people went into, one of those people being Jesus. I'm gonna get trouble saying that as a Jew. Sorry, but I mean, that's clearly at least
wait a minute. Historically, it's true. I mean, we cannot disregard history. Whether they believe it or not is irrelevant right now. The point is that many Christians need to know the relevance of the temple in the story of the first century writings. I mean, everything was written around the narrative of the temple being there.
I think Christians need to understand the temple in order to understand their own Christianity, since that's where it did start.
100% agree. Let me put it in perspective. In the Torah, we have 613 commandments, right?
Yeah.
279 of them are related to the Beit HaMikdash, of the temple. 279. You have 45.5% of the commandments in the Torah dealing with the temple, and we're not going to study the temple. Come on, you know?
That's my interest as a Jew. Is, I mean, if you think according to the Nachmanides, none of those commandments are applicable to outside of Israel. So I want to be a better Jew, I come to Israel. If I want to be a better Jew, I have to be interested in the temple and God willing to actually bring it. So that's my perspective as a Jew. So,
well, I think that we are heading in the right direction.
God willing, God willing.
My biggest concern is this, okay? Every nation that has a king, they understand a protocol. They understand hierarchy. They understand how to behave when the king is there. Now, the whole earth is going to be restored to the God of Israel. The whole earth will be restored. The whole garden will be restored. The temple is Gan Eden, is the garden, okay? So the temple teaches us order. It teaches us what's going to happen in the Olam Haba, what's going to happen in the world to come. It's going to happen, when everything is shalom, the peace of God, But how can the service of the synagogue is modeled after the Beit HaMikdash, after the temple? The Shabbat table, everything is modeled after the temple because of the song of Leviticus, 1931, and Leviticus 26:2 says, honor my Sabbath and revere my sanctuary. So how can we live our lives? Eating kosher is actually something that comes from Leviticus. It has to do with the temple. Mikvah, it comes from the temple. I mean, all these things.
And what are Psalms? What are Psalms?
Psalms is all Beit HaMikdash, the temple.
Psalms are meant to be sung in the temple. They're not nice little prayers that we say in our house alone. The Psalms are the songbook for the temple. And singing the Psalms in the temple or singing the Psalms in Jerusalem on the Temple Mount is going to be an entirely different thing than what we're doing with the Psalms today.
Man, can you imagine the Levites coming out of Beit Hanitzot, the northeastern building in the Azara, the priestly courtyard, and they've been rehearsing all day long, and it's a Tuesday, and then now they know the Psalm of the week, and they're waiting for the perfect opportunity in the morning sacrifices when the fire is been lit up, it's already been lit up, and then the crier of the temple gets everybody worshiping, and then all of a sudden now they start singing the Shir HaMa'alot in perfect harmony, and then the people answer in unison, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
Wow.
Imagine what the world is going to behold. We need to get back to understanding the protocol of God.
We need to get back to the garden. Yeah.
So now you know my passion.
There we go. There we go. I think we're going to end it here. I'm going to hopefully post this. And I'm also, just because this is amazing stuff, and I think people should hear it from your mouth and not just from mine, because whatever. And I'll be in touch with you and let you know, and run the article past you and make sure that it's all cool.
Yeah, whoops, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, this thing connected. Give me 1 second. My only concern is that I don't want people to think, when you ask me about where I come from and all that stuff, that I'm claiming to be anything other than what I found. You know what I mean? That's my only concern.
What exactly do you mean? What exactly do you mean?
And I don't want that to be people saying, oh, well, he coming there saying he's this and he's that, and that's not the objective. I'm just sharing what you said and told me about my beginnings and all that stuff.
Yeah, and like I said, it's. I mean, Joseph, he's not even part Jewish. He's
Right.
just a Christian who out of his faith he chose to study the original Jewish sources, and I can't imagine Joseph fudging it or hiding anything. He's a total 1000% man of truth.
That's right.
And I think that's very important, because when you start, I know as a Jew, if I start
dealing with anything Christian, it's very uncomfortable for me. I'm assuming it's the same for Christians who start dealing with Jewish sources. I know that a lot of Christians have a very bad impression of the Talmud, and so I feel much better when Christians teach Talmud to Christians, and I think it is something that they should know. This is the reality we're in, I think, at this point.
I believe that if you want to learn about the temple, two resources that I think we need to learn. Actually, three, but two mainly ones. I believe the Mishnah is a very important resource. Sure. And also the Mishnah Torah is an extremely important resource.
Right. The Mishnah Torah is Maimonides, the Rambam. Right. He wrote a compilation of Jewish law. One of the very important things about the Rambam was most people only deal with practical Jewish law, which, as you pointed out, is actually not a large percentage of what's written in the Torah. The Rambam, Maimonides, he actually covered everything, which included the temple, which took him way past all the other rabbinic sources.
That's true. Can I share one more thing with you? Are we done? Let me know, and afterwards I can do that. But I'd like to share one more thing with you, okay? I think you're going to like this.
Sure.
See if I can get this one here. Hold on. There we go. This one. Okay, can you see that?
Well, it says that you started sharing.
Yes.
But I'm not seeing anything.
Nothing yet?
Nothing yet.
Yeah, it's probably the internet.
Yeah.
The internet is slow. I can't be able to share from my phone.
I want to point out it's raining, which is a huge blessing. But when it rains, the internet gets slow. Yeah, so at least it does by us.
What we do, we're going to leave it there, and then next time I would like to do, if you want, we'll do it when I get to my house. Then we'll do something showing you the whole. I want to show you the holy place and the holy holies, and I will show you the Shulchan Hapanim, the bread of the presence. Show the menorah, the way it looked like. I want to take you into the second story of the temple building, show you the roof, and show you all the buildings, Beit Aptinas. You know the Mugni, right? The Mugni, which is the wheel, the Gula, right? We put it in there. We put the laver, the Kior, we put it in a particular place. I think you find it interesting. According to Ezekiel 47 verse 2. And everything is archaeologically based with the sources of water and the writers. So I'm excited to share with you. Please visit your your phone, go to the App Store and look for Second Temple. Second Temple, and allow yourself to learn interactively with us. You're going to have infodots of information from archaeology, history, rabbinical sources, historical sources, and clearly the Tanakh, the Torah, and the prophets. And we're able to guide you through the whole thing. Man, and I really pray that this is a blessing to a lot of people. And lastly, we also took the research of Conrad Sheik, and we located the location where the Fort Antonia was with the plaza that Josephus spoke about. When the Romans were getting paid, they used to do demonstration in the plaza to intimidate the Jews. We put it in the model so that you can see also archaeology.
Wow. So this covers just about everything. Wow.
Pretty much, man. I wish I could take credit, but it's not my research. I'm only facilitating for my teacher of what he done. And this is basically, I get to learn with him all the time. So I'm excited.
Getting a good teacher like Joseph is very important. Like I said, I spoke to him just a little bit, and not so many rabbis have as good a grasp as the temple as Joseph does. I was having great difficulty keeping up with him, and that was in a short conversation. So this is the real deal. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
One of the things that saddens me is that he's been helping here in Israel for almost 20 years, over 20 years. And I don't think he's really gotten the recognition, at least the credit of somebody coming from the nations, given his time, his effort and research to help, with what already is there to help. All we want to do is help. We don't have an agenda. We just want to help.
Well, I'm glad to see this. This is definitely opening a huge door.
Yeah.
To the temple, to the third temple, to the second temple. This
Yes,
is certainly doing that. This is certainly doing that.
And I appreciate your time, and thank you for taking this time.
I am thrilled and delighted. I am just, the fact that I got through this whole recording without crying is a major thing. I just to view the glory of the temple, I usually cry at that. So this is.
I want to show you the holy holies and the holy place after we're done here, and I think you'll cry then.
Amen. Amen. Okay. Thanks so much, Rico. Don't hang up.
Okay, toda.